Quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain.
quarterback's arm was going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an
Oh, man, what a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another bad call. I'm JD. With me, as always, is the older, more risk-taking Justin. What's going on, buddy?
You didn't let me do the thing. I wanted to do the thing. Oh well.
I was trying to slow down expectations for how much you're going to talk today.
Good luck.
How you doing, bud?
I'm all right. Friday.
Yeah.
We're here a week from Thanksgiving, and the shit is going crazy with the COVID. So that's all fun and everything. But it sounds like there's some promising vaccine news coming. So hopefully by this time next year, we're getting back to normalcies.
That sounds like that's a realistic goal timeline, dependent on how these vaccines go.
I mean, I'd love it to be earlier. I'd love it to be earlier. We just, I mean, to get the ball rolling in a positive direction earlier. So,
I read 8 weeks for federal employees, as early as 8 weeks for federal employees, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
all that bullshit. We're still in football time. We don't have to worry about those suck ass Bears this weekend. So, maybe I can get this thing turned in the positive direction because, oof. Amazingly, my two crappy season-long teams won last week.
Good for you,
man. Yeah, a whole lot of no good. I was happy to beat Finn because he made all the wrong decisions in that another bad call. I told him that it was karma for him spending money to pick up Duke Johnson and dropping Daryl Richardson. That made no sense to me whatsoever. So
Henderson,
yes,
that guy too. He dropped both of them.
Daryl Henderson.
Yeah, you said Richardson. I was just making sure.
I'm pretty sure I said Henderson.
Okay.
Whatever. Nobody's watching. Anyway, you got to be the prick. That's you play the role well, so.
Hey, find what you're good at and stick to it. That's all I always say.
Anywho,
how did your DFS
I
go?
did not win in DFS last week.
No? Nothing?
I missed cash. I mean, a little bit, but it's hard to go over. I mean,
I beg to differ, my friend.
when you put enough lineups out there, it's hard to go over.
Okay.
You cover enough bases, you're gonna catch a walk somewhere.
That is the difference.
You might not, or maybe an infield single. I don't know. But the big problem for me is cash missed. I missed the cut line by like 4.5 points. And you know what? I was a mistake. I'm coming back. I'm, tying up 16-1 between Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams was a mistake. They only yielded 34 points for those $16,000, and that's not enough. Kyler ended up doing what he needed to do. You get 3.5x on a quarterback at 8K. I don't think you can complain about that. My one good play was Josh Reynolds. He did come through for 3,500. He got 17.4 PPR. He was the leading receiver for LA in that game, and everything else missed. Got a 0 out of my defense. Duke Johnson was an awful play. Keenan Allen let me down for the first time in a long time. Yeah, it was brutal. Brutal. But
I'm right there with you. I had two skill players go over 10 points, which is just not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it at all. In our tournament that we do weekly, I had a whopping 72 points. That's not going to do anything. Now, I mean, it was a low week across the board. I think the Millie maker winner was like 183 or 186 or something like that. So, I mean, it was a lower week than what we've been seeing, but that was rough. Last week was rough.
Yeah. I did have my best tournament lineup was 159.8 points.
Well, now you're gonna make me look.
And that was in the play action. Was a Kyler Murray with James Robinson and Mike Davis. And then James Robinson was a little bit of a leverage play against Aaron Jones and Devontae in that one, and the Mike Davis was like, I'm gonna take the free square. Didn't win anything for you, but he got 8.4, so he did 2x it, so he didn't kill you at that price. But what made this lineup go off was I paired Hopkins with Kyler, and then I had a mini stack of T. Higgins and Deontay Johnson in there, who both had really, really good game. 26.5 and 26.6 for guys in the mid 5,000 range is good payoff. This lineup was killed by Keenan Allen again. If I spend that elsewhere, I'm probably making a real nice return.
Yeah, I would have had I did have one cash in the play action, but so I believe Gerald Everett, he was right there. He should have had a touchdown in that game, and they called him out like at the 1 or something.
Yep.
So he ends up with 4.7. I mean, you add that other 6 points, and I'm right there. But the other one, I played David Moore in that one. That was I had Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs, then DeAndre Hopkins. I had Aaron Jones. I had Mike Davis, of course. And then I went David Moore and Gerald Everett, thinking I'd get a nice cheap stack into a game that should have likely yielded some points. And of course it didn't, and that killed me.
You could have gone with Reynolds.
You're right. I could have. I had JD McKissick in at my flex spot. He gave me 17.9, and I had the Saints defense, which gave me 14 points in that one. So it was a pretty good play there. Is what it is. I did a little bit of something last night, nothing special, but that was a fun game. Seeing Russ and Kyler go back and forth, I feel like that could be fun for the next couple of years. But I am ready to get into this week, because this week is gross.
This week is play to suck ass. Let me tell you.
Let's get to building some lineups,
buddy. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'm going to be anywhere near this lineup, but this is the first lineup that I was able to cobble together that I could somewhat swallow for cash. Um, so, and we might get more news. We did get some news today in regards to the New Orleans quarterback situation. I'll tell you, I did build a lineup 2 days ago that had Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback for a reasonable price. Well, now apparently Adam Schefter is reporting that Taysom Hill's going to start.
And there will not be packages for Jameis Winston either. It's Hill's show.
Now, Sean Payton is disputing that, but I'm Shefty is usually pretty good with his intel, so Sean Payton not committing to Taysom Hill as a starter, but all indications are Hill has been taking all first team reps this week. So at 4,800, starting against the Falcons, it seems like there's not another person. If you got a starting quarterback and knowing his rushing ability and all the other kind of things they do with him, I think the 4,800 is real easy to just go ahead and lock him in there at that. So now if we could find something else otherwise, I'm going to have to change this up because I'm building it based on the fact that I got a $4,800 quarterback.
Yep.
All right. Well, this lineup it looks a lot like last week's lineup. I'm not going to lie. I have Mike Davis in here at 6,800. I'm going back to the well. They're playing.
Yeah.
They're playing Detroit. They're home against Detroit. They're starting a different quarterback. So presumably, I'm not sure if Bridgewater was 100% ruled out yet. But
it's looking like it's going to be PJ Walker.
Yeah, Mr. XFL. So I think that he's going to need to get a lot of usage at the running back position, and we still have no CMC, and Detroit is just awful against the run. So Mike Davis, 6,800. The other guy that I also have in the lineup that I'm going back to the well with this week, and his price went up to 7,400 at the wide receiver position, Keenan Allen. This is another game based on matchup. They're playing a home game against the Jets, and the Jets are just trash. So I have a feeling that Herbert tries to get back on track with Keenan Allen this week. We know Allen gets tons and tons of targets. It's a matchup that's prime for that, and so I like him still, even with the stinker he put up last week.
Target machine.
So this is where I got a couple of pairs of guys that are in the same game, which is why I'm not completely sold on this just yet. But Dalvin Cook at 9,000, he's just doing it every week. And we saw it last week, even against the top-notch Bears run defense. He didn't score a touchdown, but he still had a crap ton of yards, a lot of receptions. He is just unbelievable, and he gets a good matchup at home against Dallas.
Yeah, he is matchup proof at this point in time. But we just lost Justin. Let's see if we can't get him back. What did he do? Did he spill coffee? Bear with us for 1 minute. This is the problem with doing live shows. All right. Although in the past we've been about 40 minutes through recording an hour-long podcast and found out that the record button was never pushed. All right. Well, let's try getting him back. Let's see if we can get him back in here. Bear with us for just a minute. If you're hanging out, go ahead and say hey in chat. Let's know where you're from, who your favorite team is. If you stopped by the show before, you know we bleed that orange and navy. Hey, there he is.
Oh, hey, what's up? What did I lose
there?
you, or did I fall out, or?
Yes, you did. You disappeared.
Man, where did I leave off?
Oh, it's hard to tell anymore, buddy.
Did I finish up Dalvin Cook?
Yes, you did. I had just said that you were. He's matchup. It doesn't matter what matchup he is, and then you cut out.
Okay.
Mr. Childish Gambiaki, what is up, my dude? How are you, brother? Thanks for stopping by and saying hey.
So, where I went after that, in that same game, heck of a matchup, Adam Thielen,
Okay.
for 6,300. He gets a lot of targets, end zone targets as well. And again, that Dallas matchup is just prime for the Pickens. And I think that what do we got? The Vikings have one of the highest implied team totals this week at 27.5 points. So Dalvin Cook, I don't think is going to score them all. I mean, I like Justin Jefferson. I'm probably going to build some GPPs with both those guys, all three of those guys mixed in. But I think for cash, I think Thielen just gets a lot more of the mid-level bailout catches to get the first downs and stuff. And Jefferson at this point is more of like the home run hitter. So for cash, I want to go with the more stability of Thielen.
All right. We'll get to GPP.
Yeah. And so
Jeffrey, thanks for that like, man. Appreciate it.
So then
thanks for stopping by.
Flex. Antonio Gibson at home against Cincinnati. Another really nice, juicy matchup. 5,800. Gibson has now in the last several weeks started to show us a consistent output, putting up 21.8, 13.5, and then 22.5. So I just I'm feeling pretty comfortable with him at 5,800.
It's that one's an interesting one to me. I would almost, I mean, in cash I can understand it. He's maybe your, I don't know. It's hard to argue with either one of these guys, especially in the matchup. But McKissick, they made every point last week to just be like, here's the ball with McKissick. So I would almost argue, specifically, let's say like if the news comes out that Hill is not going to be your starter and you need to find a way to make that money back, maybe pivot to McKissick and save that 600.
He's not. I mean, it's not. It's a little bit of money, but this lineup's gonna have to get wholly reworked if Taysom Hill is not the starter. So, but Gibson, I think a couple of things on the McKissick targets. I think it comes back a little bit, and you start to see a little bit more towards McLaurin, just because it's going to be a better matchup this week. Game script played a lot in.
Yep, we're losing Justin again. I think we're having internet issues with him. So Jeffrey, you've got Thielen and Cook. Man, you must have been rolling the last couple weeks, buddy. They're on a roll. Are you a big Vikings fan, or is it just that's just how it worked out? See if we can get Justin back in here. Look at that frozen mug he's got going on too. That's even better. Childish, thanks for that. And McLaurin, yeah, dude, F1. F1's balling out. I think he's due for a big one. I've got some lineups built with him. He's had, I think, 7 targets or more in every single game he's played this year, which is fantastic. I mean, that target share is amazing. And he hasn't had a lot of touchdowns, which is very volatile, but they're coming. Like, he's a easy play at this point. I mean, what do we got? At wide receiver, McLaurin is coming in. Oh, where are you at? There he is, 6,900. Yeah, that's an easy play for me right there. Had the 6th pick, took Cook after Kamara went 5. Yeah, that's a good call. It's a real good call. And 6th pick. Was it 10 team or a 12 team? I mean, either way, you're not really good. You're sitting right in the middle. That's a rough spot to be picking in. All right, let's disconnect him and call it. That's fun. A Discord just dropped out. Cool. We're having some fun. Get that back up in here. 12 team. Yeah, Discord's being rough, buddy. I'm seeing if I can get back in. Kamara win at 5 and a 12 team? Who were the first 4? Is this one of those leagues where somebody was like, I'm taking Mahomes or Jackson in the first couple picks? May have to do an impromptu swap. It looks like Discord's having some issues. Let me check into that real quick and see. Discord down. Unfortunate. CMC, Saquon, Zeke, not sure who went 4. So Justin is saying he's going Keelan Cole, Logan Thomas in the Eagles D. Let's throw that into this. And just so we got this. Keelan Cole. He's got to be pretty cheap. Keelan Cole, where are you at? There you are. Then we're gonna go Thomas, Logan Thomas. Who we got in that defense? Who did he say? The Eagles D. All right. All right, Justin, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Discord crashed out here. I don't know if Discord's on. Is your Discord still up and running? Maybe it's just my Discord that went down. There we go. There's my Discord back. That was fun. Let me see if I can get you back on here. I don't know if Discord's on. Is your Discord still up and running? Maybe it's just my Discord. I can hear you.
Hey.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
There
we go. There's my Discord back. And I can hear myself.
Oh, I gotta turn my phone off.
CMC, Saquon, Zeke, PPR. Yeah, I would think in a PPR format, I'm taking Kamara over Zeke all day, every day. Like, that's not even a question for me. All right, there you are. Yeah, I think maybe
there were some health questions with Kamara and at the beginning of the season, coming into draft season right before, and the whole contract situation. So that might have based on timing of when people were drafting stuff might have caused that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have trusted Zeke in that situation.
It's easy in hindsight, but he was still it was top 3 were at the beginning of the season, it was pretty consensus that it was CMC, Zeke, and Saquon.
Uh-oh.
And then with Dalvin and Kamara being 4 and 5.
All right. So let's get back to your lineup here. So I've got him plugged in. You got Keelan Cole going up against Pittsburgh. You've got Logan Thomas in at your tight end in the Eagles D.
Right. So trying to search for value at the tight end position is the tight end position has really been a shit show. It's this year. It's kind of hard to even want to spend more than 4K on a tight end unless you're getting Kelsey. Everybody else has been so inconsistent. And so Logan Thomas continues to get targets, 4 to 5 targets a game or whatever. He's running a lot of routes for Washington, and so if I'm going to pay down, it's like a guy that he's due, and so there's not a lot of guys in this price range that I really find too viable. Keelan Cole, the reason I'm going with him here in this lineup is that we've got another week with Jake Luton. It's a tough matchup from a running standpoint, and I'm sure they're going to blitz this kid a lot, but they're going to have to throw. Game script. Pittsburgh's actually not been great against the pass this year. Where are we at? Oh, I'm on it already. Let's see. Steelers. It says pass D is second DVOA, so it has been good, but they've been giving up a lot of yards to receivers. So anyway, Cole is cheap and he's getting a lot of targets, a lot of usage in that offense, and so I'm not really. All
right.
Yeah, 9 wide receivers have finished with 60 or more yards against Pittsburgh. I'm sure they're going to intercept the kid, but they're going to have to keep throwing. It's sad for me that I can seriously call NFL players kids based on my current age range.
There it was. Man, that took you a long time to get to that 2 words.
That's not even what I wanted to say either.
Beats.
My current demographic. There we go. So, and then I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on defense, unless you want to pay out. Like the Eagles, they like to do a lot of blitzing and stuff, and that guy on the other side likes to turn the ball over. So,
all right. Yeah,
I
mean, again, you've got a lineup built around Hill. This is an interesting one to me because I kind of feel like you built a GPP lineup, and the one that I'll do. I mean, I was gonna do my Hill lineup, and maybe I'll still throw it out there just to have it out there.
I wouldn't call this a GPP lineup. It doesn't have the kind of correlations that you want in a GPP lineup.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's clear this. Let's switch over to a GPP, and I'll go pretty quick through what I got here. All right. So I too built a Taysom Hill lineup. So because how can you not when you find out you're getting a starting QB at 4,800 that's basically all rush side here. I was gonna look this up. I just didn't. For the amount of snaps or plays that he's been on the field, how many times he's passed versus how many times he's rushed.
Not a lot.
I'd be really curious. I'm a little leery this week because you don't really know how accurate he is. But here we are. All right. So here's my Taysom Hill lineup. I'm coming back. You got to have Cook again. This is that situation where like we were with CMC last year, where you just basically had to play him every week. I will say I think Kamara and Murray are actually decent plays this week. Kamara, if he's actually playing. If not, I've got Murray locked into all my
leagues. Yeah, that's good. If for some reason Kamara doesn't play, that's gonna change my build significantly.
Okay, so here's where I really go full GPP on you. No DeAndre Swift this weekend, so Kerryon Johnson. Now, I know Adrian Peterson is probably going to be your, like, maybe first, second down. Kerryon Johnson's going to be your change of pace, likely fill in more for that DeAndre Swift role. His running back coach flat out came out and said it, and Carolina gives up a ton of points to the running back position. At 4,000, this to me is where we were talking last week with like Mike Davis, where they didn't adjust his price. You got to play him. So I've got Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, this is a late ad. I don't know, what did he fall off the bed and hit his head or something?
Yeah, they're not sure when he got his concussion, so
he doesn't remember.
So boo.
Sorry.
Boo. Boo this man. Boo this man. All right, so you know the rules. You go a quarterback, a receiver, and then you bring it back on the other side. So right now I've got Taysom Hill with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has killed me this year. Absolutely killed me this year. But at 7,300, my hope here is that when Taysom Hill actually does pass, that they are going to Michael Thomas quite a bit. You're going to have to lean on your studs in this game. So gonna play him again. 7,300, hard to pass on him. This will, however, be my last week. This is like the final chance before
I was gonna say, man, you're gonna have to go to the meeting. You're gonna have to go to that special meeting because
Michael Thomas Anonymous.
I think Mike at that price, I'm not eating any of that dinner right there.
So bringing it back, I've got Calvin Ridley plugged in there right now. Because it looks like he's been taken off the injury report. He's ready to play. We know what they can do. This should be a decently scoring game. What's the over-under on this one? Have you looked at it?
It will take me about 2 seconds to find it.
So less time than it takes you to spit out age range at the end of a sentence?
You can kiss my fat ass.
Well, at least you got that sentence out quicker. So
while
you looked at it,
Falcons Saints is a 49.
Okay, all right. So I mean, decent. And that just kind of depends.
Current, but
that's a fun debate. Does it go up or down based on the news that it's going to be Taysom Hill instead of Jameis Winston?
I don't know.
Does that move?
I don't know, but if it was going to be Jameis Winston, I almost would have played the Winston at quarterback and the Falcons at D.
Oh, absolutely. You do that one. All right. So anyway, so we've got Michael Thomas, we've got Calvin Ridley, we got F1 Terry McLaurin in there. This guy has had 7 or more targets in every game this year. 7 or more targets. I will take that again at that price range. Yes, please. All right. What do we got left? Tight end. We've talked about this. Tight end's kind of a, what do you do here? So I've got Dallas Goedert filled into that role right there. Last week, let me pull this up. I just had this. I think he had like 6 targets last week.
I mean, every time I looked at the game,
targets. Yep.
Richard Rodgers was getting a catch, which was really ticking me off. But
yeah, forget Richard Rodgers. Yeah, he had 6 targets last week. So, Let's see. I believe in this one I put in the Vikings defense because running back defense correlation. Plus, it's Dallas. Like, why would you? They have shown you play the defense that's going up against Dallas. So I can afford it. It fit. And here is my final little value piece in the coffin. KJ Hamler in at my flex spot, 3,600. In the last 2 games, Hamler's had 10 targets in both games. At 3,600, I will take that. That's just volume for that price.
Yeah, but we don't know who's his quarterback. Brett Rippon?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he's got that quick speed that if you can get it to him in within a 5 to 10 yard window, he can turn it upfield really quick. Again, 10 targets. If he catches 6 of those balls and he gets 60 yards, there's your 12 points out of a 3,600 guy.
I don't think he's getting 10 targets again, but that's just me.
Okay, I mean it's 2 weeks in a row he's gotten 10 targets. 2 weeks in a row.
Are you going to call that a trend?
Well, you go off of recency, right? You look at this and you go, hey, look at teams. What have they done in the last 3 weeks? No, don't give me that shit. When you go and look at your stuff, you go back because you say it all the time on here when you're giving your long-winded spiels about why you've picked a player, that in the last 3 weeks, this is what this team has given up. In the last 3 weeks, this is what this guy has done.
Something has changed majorly. If he doesn't have Drew Lock as his quarterback, I don't think you can count on it. This is me.
That's fine. Again, if he gets 6 targets, I'm okay at 3,600. He's a value play.
I'm feeling like we need to make a bet on this, but
okay, a bet on what?
I don't know.
That he's a value play?
No, it doesn't matter. Move on.
That's the lineup according to Football Guys DFS single lineup builder. Looking at an upside of 199 points. I don't think that's going to happen because it's me. But if I score 190 points in a play action, I'll be happy. I'll be real happy.
I really wasn't paying attention. Calvin Ridley is playing this week.
Do you have to pay for that lineup builder, Taylor? No, Taylor. Well, okay. So I shouldn't say no. Because I actually have a membership to Football Guys. They have season-long memberships, DFS memberships. They do have a free one, but I think with the free one you only get their daily email and update. So you probably have to pay for the DFS the DFS membership. I think it was like, I don't want to tell you the wrong price.
Well, even so,
I never paid more than $50. I have never paid more than $50 to use their tools, which is when comparatively to what you're talking about with a lot of these other sites, it's really good.
Most of the sites actually this time of year start running like specials, like half off and stuff, as the season is halfway over. And
let me look this up right now and actually see.
So it's actually not all of them do it, but it's a good way. Like if there's a site that you've been wondering about if you want to spend your money on it, in the last third of the season, they can get heavily discounted, and so it's a good way to try it out and see if it might be a tool that you want to buy into for the full year, the following year.
So Taylor, real quick, just to let you know. So I just looked it up. They are doing a special mid-season discount. The daily fantasy by itself, which is where you'll get the builder, is $25 right now. $25 for the mid-season. At the start of the season, it was $50. And if you go up to 70, you get their season long and their daily fantasy, which is what I've done. And I think if you sign up through DraftKings or something like that, you can get a bigger discount too. But yeah, $25 right now to do the daily fantasy. And they do also have, let me go ahead and show you. So aside from the single lineup builder, you can also do a multi lineup builder. Let me go ahead and pull that up right now. Multi lineup optimizer. Let me see if I can switch what this is. You can build your own lineup for $25. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, their multi lineup one's kind of nice. Maybe we should spend some time doing that at one of these weeks. But so Justin, I'll let you vote in on this. Taylor asked, running 150 lineups, should he lock Hill in on every one of them?
No. No. If you're gonna do a true like multi build, you're gonna want to do some research, get yourself a player pool, and maybe have like eight quarterbacks that you like. Maybe have I don't know, 10 running backs that you like. Maybe have 10 to 15 wide receivers. Get yourself a pool of guys that you think could have a high ceiling. And then you're going to put that. I don't know anybody that builds 150 lineups by hand. If you're going to do that, you're going to use a lineup generator. You're going to put that pool of guys in there, set your rules for what you want, correlations, stacks, opposing team stacks, put those rules in and you sit in there and you spit it out. And then you don't just blindly enter those. Then you kind of look through and see, but you can set your percentages. So like say last week per se, Kyler Murray was the most popular guy. If you're going to build lineups, you're going to want to have an idea of how many people in a GPP are going to go with it. So if you think he's going to be 25% owned, if you think he's going to be that much better, you're going to want to have a higher allocation of your lineups, more than 25%. If you think that he's going to maybe underperform to that percentage, you're going to want to have a lower. I'm just explaining the multi-lineup build.
All right. So for 150 lineups, I wouldn't put him in every single one of them. I would probably have like maybe 20 different lineups with him in it, but I don't think I'd go over that. The reason being for me, just to make it really quick and to the point, is that he's probably going to be highly targeted by a lot of people at this point in time, being a starter, knowing he's got the rushing upside and the cost. All right, let's give you another one here. Jet, what's going on, buddy? He says in a PPR format, you have to pick one. McKissick, Harris, or Bernard. Who you taking?
Ooh. I mean, the kind of, I guess, McKissick probably PPR if it's full point. However, I'm looking pretty strong at Damian Harris again. I like him to be. I think they finally know what they have in him. They've been feeding him the rock. He's been getting good yards per carry. So yeah, I would. I was looking at him in cash a little bit. So.
All right, Taylor, just real quick, I had this put up. I'll throw it back up here. The multi lineup is for football guys is up here. It's pretty nice. It tells you how many entries you're putting into a contest, your target finish in the top, how many lineups you're doing. You can say each lineup is different by a certain amount of players and set all your different projections and whatnot. It's pretty nice, and it's getting better every single year. They've really put a lot of work into their daily fantasy stuff.
I mean,
coming back to a Jet, me personally, I'm probably going with Bernard in this one, just because there's nobody else there. I like McKissick. I think he's going to get a lot of it. With Harris, he's the guy, but he's not only contending with other running backs, he's contending with his quarterback. Bernard, that's it. Who else do they have there with him right now? So I take the guy that from a target share has the bigger floor personally. Especially if you're talking in a season-long format where you're not talking about price point, I'm going with Bernard because I just think the floor is better, personally. But because you mentioned Harris and the risk of starting a diatribe here, what do you think about playing Duke Johnson this week after getting burned by him last week?
Probably not going to do much of it.
No?
Nah. I think that I don't know. It just doesn't. Here's why. Because I the reason I played him last week is because every time I've seen him play, he pops me, and he always has really good metrics as far as yards per carry, yards per attempt, stuff like that. But he doesn't get used right, and the Houston offense this year, even when they had David Johnson going, he wasn't getting used, great amount of usage. I just don't think that Houston is real enthralled with the passing or the running game anyway. So that's why.
Yeah. The reason I ask is I'm kind of taking last week and kind of throwing it out the window a little bit because the situation as far as the weather went was not good. Like, things just did not work out well for that game. But in this situation, I feel like maybe he'd be worth it, especially in a GPP format. I definitely not going to trust him in cash, but I think in a GPP format where you're building a couple lineups, having again the guy for a team at 5,400 is not a bad play. I don't think I'd completely avoid him, and honestly, there's a lot of people that, like you, are going to say no, I'm not touching him, I can't trust him, which might be all the more reason to take a chance on him there.
I mean, it is a good matchup. Patriots are 31st DVOA against the run, so it might not be terrible. But these are the two worst teams running defenses in the league, basically, in DVOA. So,
real quick, if you have to pick an Indianapolis running back, who you playing this week?
Oh man, Wilkins is out touching him. I don't know. I think it should be the other guy, but Jonathan or
if you're gonna say Jonathan Taylor Thomas,
yeah,
Thomas Taylor,
like
whatever,
that,
the guy from Home Improvement,
yeah, whatever, Jonathan Taylor.
I've got Nyheim Hines. I think he's the guy for them. I'd be a little concerned. Those people in dynasty leagues that took Taylor high, they're just for whatever reason they're kind of like, yeah, you're not doing very well, so we're gonna play Hines. And I mean, Phillip Rivers and his receiving backs, it seems to work out better. That'll be a fun game.
Hines had one game, so I'm not ready to. I mean, he had one big game. I'm not ready to, go in after him.
He has 3 games over 20 points.
I'm just saying, in the recency.
2 of those games over 20 are in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, but one of them was against Detroit.
And the other one is against Tennessee. And if you look at teams that give up lots of points to running backs,
so those were, he had 3 touchdowns across those games.
The Green Bay Packers give up 33.1 DraftKings points per game to the running back position.
All right. I'm gonna disagree with you, but I think
There's a shocker.
He's the third back there, so
I would argue that Wilkins is the third back and Nyheim Hines is number 2. I would argue that point, but I don't have the stats to back it. I'd have to look him up. I'd have to look it up. And I wish I had that. I actually did have all the touches per team.
Here's the real answer. Don't touch it. Don't touch that situation. It's a 3-headed monster. The only 2 worst ones are out in LA and in Baltimore.
Or San Francisco, as long as any of their running backs are
healthy. Usually there's only one of them healthy-ish. So.
All right, buddy. I feel like we could do this for a while.
Argue? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Any last plays or just throw them out there, guys, that you're looking at right now?
Oh, let me scroll through here real quick. I'm just gonna. It might be lighting money on fire, but I got a feeling about Dallas this week, so I'm gonna play a little Andy Dalton and a couple of his receivers. That'll be a lineup that I do put together. Still love Deontay Johnson, man. The guy is still under 6K, and when healthy, he gets a lot of love from Ben. So, Deontay Johnson to me he's a guy that I end up trying to make room in a lot of lineups for.
Oh.
So other than that, I don't know. It's hard to get a lot of conviction. I really don't know what to do at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers got a terrible matchup this week. I mean, Justin Herbert, and I think he's a good play.
All that guy does is throw for 300 yards. That's all he does.
Beyond that, you start looking, guys with good matchups like Kirk Cousins. Ugh, do you really want to play Kirk Cousins? Not really. I don't. Yeah, Joe Burrow maybe. I could see him having a game. And
yeah, I mean, high volume, bad defense at 5,500. Definitely.
It's the tight end is good luck. Good luck at tight end. That's all I got to say because it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, with a lot of really good primetime games, I don't know. I will have some lineups with Mark Andrews and Jonnu Smith in there just because their usage. Probably some Hawkinson as well. And I mean, you want to talk about Dallas? I think a good play would be Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, I mean, you might as well. But
yeah,
all right, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, it's been interesting as always. Those of you that stuck around and chatted with us today, really appreciate it. Love it when you guys stop in and throw out questions and whatnot. It makes it a lot more fun, gives us something different to talk about. It shuts somebody up for a little bit. It's really nice to get that little bit of extra in there.
Yeah, it's pretty unbearable when JD's talking, so thank you.
Hang on, let me pause for 5 minutes to figure out the words age. All right, so there we go. All right, appreciate it. As always, we will be every Friday, 8:45 to 9 o'clock, somewhere in that start frame, depending on how
9 o'clock. You just put it down as 9 o'clock. We've set our timer for 8:45 so we can get on at 9.
That's fair. And that is what time our Twitch schedule says is 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You find us streaming Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Find our social media at Another Bad Call across all the platforms. At JD West 22 across all the platforms as well. At Justin M. West on Twitter and some other things. What's your Insta and your
JMW 1977 on Insta.
One of these days I'm just gonna have a list underneath your name or underneath your picture, and it's gonna get smaller and smaller as it goes down.
Like the Star Wars title screen.
Yes. I'm not that tech savvy yet to make it, or stream savvy to make it scroll through your stuff. But all right, any last closing comments out of you?
You suck. I hope you lose money this week.
No, there it is. The brotherly love. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Hopefully we can prevent you from making another bad call.
Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.